Gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Carl, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Is it Milito? Melito. All right. I'm from South Alabama, so you got to work with me here a little bit. As you know, the Biden administration has canceled the 3 remaining leases in the Gulf, lease sales on the offshore 5-year plan that expired June the 30th, 2022. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management only resumed planning sales at the direction of Congress in the Inflation Reduction Act. BOEM has so far failed to publish any new 5-year plan, leaving the U.S. without a long-term plan for oil and gas production in the Gulf of Mexico, which supplies over 20% of our oil reserves. 20% is in limbo right here. Why is oil and natural gas production in the Gulf of Mexico critical to our ability to meet the growing demand, and why is it necessary to continue planning for the future with regular lease sales in the Gulf?
There's many reasons why production from the Gulf of Mexico is so important to Americans. First of all, it's a reliable supply of energy. We need to use oil and gas in our economy. The global economy requires it. If you look back in 2021, we were still importing oil from Russia, and we hit actually 500,000 barrels a day of imports from Russia in August of 2021. On the other hand, we have the Gulf of Mexico, which is a crown jewel of energy production, and we have an opportunity to increase production from 1.8 million barrels up to 2.4 million barrels of production if we have the opportunity to move forward with leasing and permitting. Further, the Gulf of Mexico provides high-paying jobs. These jobs are throughout the country, mostly along the Gulf Coast, but these are very high-paying jobs, and they're not just college degree jobs. These are blue-collar jobs that are available for communities along the Gulf Coast. Another thing I'd like to add is that we've been supportive of revenue sharing. And if you look back at the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act, which was passed in 2006, that law provided the funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund to come from offshore oil and gas development. So we've paid through offshore oil and gas development in the Gulf over $5 billion for parks, wildlife, recreational projects throughout the country, and that's over 40,000 projects. Also, as part of that fund, there's a what's called the what's it called? It's a program that is designed to send money into underprivileged and urban areas for parks and recreation.
Is that part of the Go Mesa money?
It's part of the Go Mesa money. So there's been tens of millions of dollars annually now going to fund parks and recreation and wildlife programs for underprivileged communities in urban areas throughout the country. So we have all these benefits, and this is a region that provides among the lowest carbon barrels of oil in the world. All U.S. production provides better oil when it comes to low carbon intensity, but the Gulf of Mexico really provides the best. So if we're going to get it, let's get it from here where we know we can secure these benefits rather than seeing that production go to other parts of the world, which harms our national security.
I'm glad you touched on the Go Mesa money. I was a county commissioner for 8 years, and we depended on that Go Mesa money, and where we actually used it was restoring shorelines, oyster beds, all these environmental projects that were created over time, and we were able to restore them. We actually purchased property. We've got some stuff I'm thinking down on Dolphin Islands Park and Recreation. That's for the public to use. All of this is publicly used. So when you start talking about reducing the output in the Gulf, you're talking about reducing that Go Mesa money, which affects Mobile and Baldwin County. I'll speak for Alabama. It reduces money in both of those. So it just amazes me how we will buy Russian oil, which is much dirtier, and it's got to cost more to actually get it here because we've got oil right at our back door, as well as natural gas. We have a tremendous amount of natural gas off Alabama shores. So it's frustrating for me as being a representative from the Gulf Coast and see what has happened over the last 2 years. We have got to get, we have so many rules and regulations. Everybody says, well, there's 7,000 leases. That's hogwash. There's 7,000 leases and 699,000, whatever the breakdown of the numbers, it is all tied up in permit. It's an environmental nightmare trying to get through all of this. But anyway, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you bringing up Go Mesa. You kind of hit the softball for me on that one.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, return back. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady